What's up? What's up? What's going on, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers? It's your boy Porter Rock 77. I'm doing like almost a quick live stream on my. Let's see, get some people up in the comment section on Twitter. All right. Everybody hear me? Because I'm using my headset. I'm using the iPhone earbuds. I'm not sure if I should take it off. Give me a thumbs up or something. Let me know if you guys can hear me. This is my first time doing a live stream on the iPhone directly from the phone. Normally I would do it. Ooh, watch it. My bad. Uh, Normally I would do it from my laptop. Good. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. All right. Appreciate it. So what's up, everybody? Glad you're rocking out last minute. Just thought I do a quick live stream. That's why I didn't do a full setup on the laptop. With the mic, using OBS. Just checking out to see how this works on YouTube. This is my actually first time doing it on my iPhone. Let's see. This is better. Orientation lock. Rotate. Oh, here we go. Huh. This is crazy. What's all this? Let's see. Oh, we got filters. No filter. Oh man, this shit right here looks like I'm in prison. Oh hell nah. This is like fucking with. Yeah, let me do this one. All right, here we go. We'll do this one. All right, people. What's up, man? What's going on? Hey, I just wanted you saw them bubble shits? I'm like, nah, man. Pause. Pause. Um, I wanted to do a quick live stream uh, to let you know. Yeah, exactly. My man Sam Ash is asking why is it a bad decision, and I'm gonna talk about that. But I'm gonna do two things. I just wanna give y'all heads up. Tomorrow, I'll either probably do a live stream or maybe a recorded video. But what I want to talk about is I'll probably do a recorded video, and it's gonna talk about my thoughts on PlayStation 5 and pretty much the PlayStation 5 versus the Xbox Series X, and from my point of view as a PlayStation guy and what I want out of next gen, with all the information we reveal in a comparison from my point of view and stuff. So stay tuned for that. I'll do that tomorrow. But for right now, I'm gonna do a live stream and chat with y'all. Just talking about the road to PlayStation 5, and why it was a bad decision. Okay, so let's talk about it like this. So first, make sure you hit the like button. All right, I would truly appreciate it. Semper Fi. Uh, if I miss your chat, I see the chat going, but the chat goes by fast and it doesn't stay paused or it doesn't stay on there. So I apologize if I miss some good comments and stuff. But please hit the like button and retweet it out, and get everybody going. Right. So this is my thoughts on the PlayStation 5. If you didn't see it, it was about an hour lecture by Mark Cerny, and he did a deep dive on the PlayStation architecture. Now, this deep dive was meant for developers. It was the deep dive that was designed for the Game Developers Conference, right? So let's get that out the way. It was meant for developers. It was an event, a lecture on the capabilities of the PlayStation 5, right? Um, and it was a message for the developers, okay? It was for tech enthusiasts, just like Christopher Hart just said. It was for tech enthusiasts. It was for developers. It was for those guys, right? Um, and that's the fact. That's obviously the fact, right? But just because that's what it was for doesn't mean Sony should have stuck with their guns and still have done it. Now, hear me out. The Game Developers Conference was canceled, right? So that lecture that they did, we're going to call it the lecture, we're going to call it the deep dive, that deep dive lost its purpose because the event that it was for was not happening, or at least it was delayed. I think the next plan is to do it in June. The event that it was for was delayed, right? So it serves no purpose because it was meant for that type of environment. Sony made the decision to say, hey, let's take this deep dive, this lecture, and we're gonna put it on YouTube and we're gonna stream it for the world to see. All right. The problem with that, okay, you have to understand is who is gonna be the primary audience that's actually going to watch it. Sony put this out there on their PlayStation YouTube channel, which is primarily subscribed by fans of gaming and gamers and consumers. Sure, are there developers that also subscribe to the channel? Of course, right? Were there going to be developers to tune in? Of course. But they would not have made up the majority, okay? When I was streaming the event last night, yesterday, there was, I think, 1.700,000 people watching it live. I guarantee the majority of those 700,000 people were not developers. It was fans, right? Across various platforms, PC gamers, PlayStation fans, Xbox fans, Nintendo fans, and just gamers, right? Across the spectrum. That was the primary audience, right? Sony should have realized that this event, or at least this deep dive, at this point in time, should not have been the first thing they've done, all right, for this year, all right? What Sony should have done was and it wasn't even a live event, it was recorded. So that thing that we saw with Mark Cerny, that was already a pre-recorded event, right? So they have it on tape. It's not going anywhere. It's already, I said tape, it's actually on a hard drive, whatever, you know what I mean, right? It's already there. What they should have done is we're going to hold off on this deep dive and we're going to go and push ahead with a reveal event for the fans. That should have been the first thing Sony should have done, right? Create a reveal event, show the games, show the technology, show these first-party games or exclusives that take advantage of the solid state drive, right? Show the graphics, show the fans, which is the majority of the people that want this information, what we're getting for next gen. Show the controller. Show a little bit about the PlayStation Network, right? Show maybe some third party, right? That should have been the first thing they showed to the world, right? They didn't even have to show the console if they didn't really have it ready. If they didn't have the console design ready, all right, cool. I mean, all right. But if they would have showed the games, right? Showed the games, show the capabilities, show these games built with SSD in mind and how it could push gaming forward. Show us the stuff that we are ready to buy, okay? Once they got that out the way, then they could have advertised the Mark Cerny deep dive. They could have advertised it. They could have advertised it to where, for the people that are wondering how we were able to accomplish all this, the graphics, the game design, the fast loading, the instantaneous loading, the controller, the sound, all this stuff. Mark Cerny will be hosting a deep dive clinic on how this is all happening internally using the PlayStation 5 architecture, all right? That is what should have happened. But what we got was a thorough explanation on something we didn't even know or see. Imagine you go to the doctor's office, right? The doctor also calls you. You go into the doctor's office, and the doctor's office tells you, okay, this is what's going to happen. Tomorrow, we're going to do this and whatever. We're going to start at 8 o'clock. We're going to put you under anesthesia, right? And we're going to have 3 doctors, right? I'll be the first doctor doing the first part of the surgery. The second part will be done by Dr. So-and-so and the third part. And you're like, and they're giving you all these detailed explanations, right? And you're sitting there like, whoa. Like, what are you guys explaining? Like, you giving me all these details. Like, what are we doing? And the doctor's like, we're going to do heart surgery. And you're like, the hell? Like, what? Who? Like, what? Whoa, slow down. And that's what happened. Mark Cerny went deep dive into a conversation we don't even know and seen anything. We haven't seen anything yet. That deep dive should have been after the unveiling, where we see the games, we see the content, we see all this great technology being displayed by the developers, right? And then the actual developers and techies that want to know, like, wow, like, my God, this huge open world game loaded instantaneously. Like, damn, they're doing all these crazy stuff that we could never do. You know, like right now, if you're following Twitter and all that stuff, the developers are out there saying that the PlayStation 5 is going to break limitations in gaming designing that's been around for 20 years, right? You know, so they'll finally break free of things that held back developers for 2 decades, right? If we would have saw that on screen, yes, people are gonna ask, damn, how did Sony do that? Or how did this third-party developer who's making an exclusive for PlayStation do that? Like, man, how was all this done? Now you do the deep dive. And then at that point, the people interested in the tech talk, they will watch it. For the rest that don't care because they got what they wanted, they just wanted to see the games, they wanted to see all these extraordinary capabilities, they got what they want, you know? So I think the way they Sony handled this deep dive, it was just wrong. It's not a bad idea in general. It's not a bad idea to do for Mark Sony to actually talk the deep dive because there is a lot of impressive tech behind it, you know. I talked to some guys in my DM who are, you know, developers. They're like, no, that thing is a beast. It's great tech. And I'm like, I got it. But that's from your perspective. Those are from the developer perspective. I'm not a developer. I can't, as much as I want to, I really cannot appreciate the technology that Sony has because I don't understand it in terms of me actually putting it into work. I don't actually make games, you know? So I can't appreciate all this great technology Sony's providing to the developers. You know what I'm saying? All I can appreciate is what I see and play, you know? I don't know what cracking capability is. I don't know what, you know, the originating engine, all this other stuff does. But if you put a game on the thing and I see an open world game that loads instantly, low latency, better animations, that I know because I can see it and I've been playing games for decades. So I can tell and see good animation. I can see instantaneous fast loading. I can visually see game design changing and getting better because I'm gonna compare it to the previous games I've been playing all my life. I can do that. You know, only the tech guys, they can see the number crunchings and the theoretical potential that these consoles do, you know. Sony should have went and should have done an unveiling first, show us the games first, show us the future about PlayStation, show us demos of these games. And we all would have been wowed. All of us would have been wowed. And some of us who are into technology would have asked, how the hell does a 10.3 T-flop console do all that, right? Because that would have been the question, right? Sony would unveil and say, hey, it's 10.3 T-flops, and they show the games. Some people will be like, there's no way you could pull that off, right? And that's where the deep dive comes in. That's how it comes in. That's where Sony talks about all that stuff. And those who are interested in, like if you're really interested in the magic, you know, the secret behind the magic, now you got the deep dive. But they put the cart before the horse. And it doesn't work, right? And the worst part is they did it the day after Microsoft announced their specs. Microsoft just announced their console's 12 T-flops, and you want to come and tell the world yours is 10.2 with boost mode. What did you think was going to happen? Like, you can't make this up. Like, I don't feel sorry because it is what it is. But if I was working for Sony, I would have known. I would have been like, you can't do that. And they would have looked at me like, Borak, what are you talking about? Like, Microsoft yesterday announced 12, and you want to announce 10.2 or 10.3 with no games? What do you think is going to happen for the rest of the month? What do you think? You know? And of course, people are going to say, oh, 2 T-flops, you know. Of course, many people are going to say 2 T-flops is not a big advantage. Could be true, right? But the main thing is, it's definitely not a disadvantage. That's the thing you guys have to look at it as. It's not a negative on Xbox. You know, best case scenario, everybody's reasonable and everybody's like, just wait till the games. That's the best case scenario. Best case scenario, PlayStation 5 does not get any optical advantage or mindshare advantage over this. There is no advantage of what Sony has done. Nothing in terms of this, right? That's best case scenario. That is just people saying, I'll wait for the games. Worst case scenario is what we're getting now. where everybody's making assumption that the PlayStation 5 is weaker, right? And then number two, Sony deep dives into backwards compatibility. Again, he's just talking about the technology. But because he talked about it, people now are talking about, because he talked about 100 games, and people aren't sure if he means only 100 games are backwards compatible, or does he mean 100 so far have been enhanced with PlayStation 5, right? That would have been resolved with an actual reveal. That would have been part of the reveal. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, backwards compatibility. Let's show you some games that we have, and oh, we have 100 games enhanced. Let's show you the difference between a pro version and the PS5 enhanced version, which is free. That's what a reveal would have done. And then when Cerny does his deep dive and talk about the tech of how they got BC done, nobody would be confused. You know? The PS5 reveal deep dive being the first thing Sony does was just a bad idea. And what boggles my mind more than anything else, and I know it's a separate division, right? But still, there is still some networking within the company. Hey, $5 super chat, the Analog Podcast. What's up, brother? I just want to show you some support. I appreciate your honesty. Hey, thank you very much. I truly appreciate it, man. Thank you, right? And you're going to get some more honesty with me. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, cancel. Okay. All right. I hope I didn't erase the chat or something. Damn it. God damn it. Okay, good. Chat is back. All right. The worst part about this reveal, I'm going to tell you, okay? And this is what really, any other company, even Microsoft and Nintendo, I wouldn't attack them that hard, right? But the reason why I'm hard at Sony with this, right? Because even though PlayStation is its own division, right? But they have networking, they have friends, they have people that talk, right? They have emails, they have Christmas parties, they know each other. The company is also an entertainment company. They do TV shows, they have music artists, they do movies. They know entertainment. And what I mean by that is they know how to advertise and hype up artists, movies, and TV shows. They know what it takes to advertise something. This shit is bananas. How did nobody see this coming? How did nobody in the company be like, skirt, Heisman, stop. We can't do this. You cannot have a deep dive on something we have not shown to the primary audience, which is the gamers who enjoy PlayStation, Now, again, I know everybody's saying this is for the developers, but the developers, in my opinion, at this stage of the game, is not the primary audience. The primary audience right now is the gamers. We're the ones that's going to buy the console. Convince us to buy your product, right? Everything should be focus driven to one mission: to advertise the PlayStation 5 to have a successful launch. That is the mission. That is the end state. That is the point of this whole thing. The whole point of this is to say, hey, we got a PlayStation 5. Let's pretend this is a PlayStation 5. We have to sell this in November. That is the goal. Nothing else. We are doing this to sell the PlayStation 5 because come November 2020, this will be on store shelves. This will be on Amazon, Best Buy. We're going to sell it through our own store. This is going to cost, let's assume $500. We got to convince people to pay $500 for the PlayStation 5. That is the mission. That is the end state. That is the goal. A successful launch. How do we get there? What is the path and the things we need to do to get to that mission, to accomplish mission? Now, maybe it's just me being in the Marines that we have this, because that's how we do it in the Marine. In the Marines, we first define what the mission is. What is the mission? What is the commander's intent? What is the commanding general, the commander on the battlefield? What does he or she want to do? What do you want? I want this. Got it. Everybody else now creates a plan and courses of action that leads to that mission. That is what you want. We will lead you to that. The mission is PlayStation 5 launch in November. That's the mission. What are the steps you do to get there? This is not the way. And again, I'm not saying the deep dive is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's mistimed. You know, right event, wrong time. It should not have been the first thing they done. The first thing that should have been done was what you call it. Do a reveal, show the games, because that will put all the gamers on the notice. Every gamer, every consumer that's about to swipe that card, swipe that debit card, right? That's going to buy that console, now sees what they're getting. They see the technology, they see the games, they see the features, they see the controller, they see how the controller works. Maybe talk about PlayStation Network, improvement stuff. Now we got all that, right? And a lot of people will look at the games and be like, wow, those are some incredible looking games. The developers themselves who make the games will talk about how they took advantage of the PlayStation 5 SSD and designed this world. So the developers will talk a little bit about it, but they're primarily going to show it and play it. And we're all going to be amazed. And the techies, right? And the developers that haven't developed games on PlayStation 5 yet, right? They're going to ask, how did you do that? When a developer who hasn't designed a game on PlayStation, right? And they see a game and they hear the developer talking about all these things in game design, that developer is going to sit there and be like, that's not possible because you're restricted with this, that, and the third. The developer is going to question that. The developer is going to ask what they see. How is that possible? Because we don't have the technology or the hardware isn't built for that. Then that's when Cerny's deep dive comes into play. That's when all the techies and the guys that really want to know what they saw and the demos they're seeing, how is it accomplished, that is what will come into play. And that will answer the questions that techies and developers have after seeing the product. The fans, we're not going to care. All we so care is about the end state. All we care about, man, that looks great. Hell yeah. PlayStation 5 day one, right? Some questions get answered. Hey, PlayStation 5 exclusives, because the exclusives are going to take advantage of the hard drive. Boom. Good. Right? And that's it. All of those little steps, if you create those steps the right way, it leads to the end state, the end goal, which is the launch of the PlayStation 5, right? But for now, over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, depending when Sony does their thing, they're just going to have to deal with the heat, and they put it on themselves. I don't feel sorry for them. Like, why would I feel sorry for a company that made a bad decision or a stupid move? That's just it. I mean, it is what it is. I don't feel sorry for a company. Like, why would I feel sorry for a company? I mean, at the end of the day, the head bosses of these companies are richer than all of us, so they're still gonna make their money. You know what I'm saying? They still got their kids in private school, and they got villas in Spain and shit, and they drive the latest foreign, so they got money. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't worried about them. I don't feel sorry for the bad optics, whatever. Okay. But I see a couple of questions I want to address. I'm not worried about the coolings. I'm not gonna wrap my head about the cooling because these games, the console is clocking a higher frequency. It's being clocked a lot. I mean, to clock, your GPU over 2 gigahertz. I mean, that's a lot, right? So if they're willing to clock it, chances are they have comparable cooling in mind. To keep the console cool, right? Or at least you would hope, right? I know a lot of people are nervous about, these high clock frequencies and produce heat and stuff. But if Sony is designing the console to do that, they most likely have a cooling to counteract that, So they probably definitely have cooling in mind. So let's see what else. Let's see what else. The chat disappears real quick, and they only show like 2-3 messages, so I apologize for not being able to catch the chat, whatever. Don't forget to hit the like button. But that's really it. I know some people are talking about SSDs all the rave now, so that's going to be my video tomorrow to talk about it. But just to give a quick note, I mean, the best people to listen to, and it's happening a lot, is the developers. They're coming out on Twitter talking about it. It's funny. I'll say this on an off topic. It's funny now that podcasts are more credible with tech talk than the actual developers and designers of the console, which is weird as hell. And to me, it isn't logical where people are now paying attention to podcasters talk about tech and believing them over the actual designers of the people who are in the industry. There's people who never made a GPU. They never went to school about GPU. When I talk about tech, I admit I'm talking reading, para-reading from other people and stuff like that. And I learn from other people, but that's just me learning from other people. But I would never debate or argue with a person who's actually been in the industry and actually done the work. It doesn't make sense to. So like I saw like for one example, like 2 weeks ago, 2 3 weeks ago, when AMD talked to their investors and said that, hey, PlayStation, the next generation consoles will use the latest RDNA tech. It's simple English. The next generation consoles, so obviously it's PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, because those are the upcoming next gen. And they even said holiday 2020. The next generation consoles coming holiday 2020 will be using the latest RDNA, right? So, holiday 2020, what are the latest consoles? PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X. Pretty simple statement, right? What's the latest RDNA tech? RDNA 2. Okay, so PlayStation 5 got RDNA 2. Simple statement. No. Nobody, a lot of people weren't believing. They're like, no, it's 1 because RDNA 1 is the latest tech. And I'm like, how is RDNA 1 the latest tech when Microsoft already announced RDNA 2? Like, logic go throughout the window. They said, nope, we got to wait till we hear Sony, certifies it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, fine. So now we got the deep dive. Sony said they're using RDNA 2. Nope, they used the word custom, so that means 1.5 RDNA. I'm like, at that point, I'm not listening to y'all. I'm going to tell you that from here on out, I'm not listening to any podcaster talk about tech. I'm not listening to anybody. I'm strictly focusing on developers, Carlo Crespin. A lot of nonprofit work going on out there, man. Thank you for the super chat. It was crazy, right? I'm just going to post what developers are saying, and they are saying a lot, and which is great. I hope developers continue to provide their input. I hope they're transparent with their work, especially those that are making games exclusive to the PlayStation 5. I hope they're very open about it and they're actually telling everybody what the hardware is doing and stuff. And then eventually they show the games and the actual work behind what they're talking about. I'm not dealing with these podcasters, because what's funny, and this is, I don't want to say open my eyes, right? Because I know there's always a level of entertainment behind YouTube, right? But it's funny, Mark Cerny had a 1 hour deep dive tech talk, probably the most in-depth tech out of both consoles, right? Because Microsoft had their review and they did like a Twitter and an article, and they had a lot of good information. But Mark Cerny did an in-depth deep dive and like right down to like science fiction, like you need a master's degree in this talk, right? You need an engineering degree to understand what the hell he's talking about, right? So he goes on to this huge deep dive talk, right? And now all of a sudden, the techies, they don't know what the hell's going on. They have no idea. They can't answer any question about the PlayStation 5. They were all over the rumors. They had specs broken down to the T with rumors, right? But now that they got actual information from a guy who designed it and he broke it down to the science, they do not understand. So at this point, I'm gonna be honest, I ain't listening to tech guys on YouTube. That's done for me. The tech guys, they have no value for me at this point. They showed their true colors, because if they were a tech guy, right, this is the stuff that they should be excited about. They should sit down, listen to all that, and then come back on Twitter, YouTube, and explain the science fiction and break it down to a simpler format for everybody. But none of them have been able to do that. None of them. None of them have been able to break down what's going on, what the technology means, and how it's gonna do for gaming, right? None of them have been able to break down what this means for PlayStation. So that to me tells me you're not a tech guy. You're just posing a tech guy, pretending to be one, you know, to a corporate slave for a particular brand. So at this point, I know not to listen to any tech guy on YouTube. It's just, to me, they hold no value at this point. I'll cut it up with my boys because at the end of the day, I know my boys. The whole thing is about entertainment and shoot the shit and talk each other and try to give each other his L. But when we're talking serious stuff, no. I'm just gonna look for actual developers, tweets, posts, forum posts, articles, and I'm just gonna stick to that because there's really nothing else. It's just not worth it at this point. It just blew my mind how now we can't get any tech guy to break down and explain what a lecture, and it's probably the most in-depth lecture we got in terms of technology, and none of them been able to break it down. Like, okay, so now where are the tech guys at? And at this point, doesn't really mean much and stuff like that, right? So it is what it is, But overall, hey, I'll be honest, I'm still excited for the PlayStation 5. I'm really excited by the SSD. So I'm looking forward to dropping that video tomorrow and give you my thoughts about it. And the reason why I'm excited for the PlayStation 5 is like reading from the developers, what Sony has put together can impact game design, So it's more than just a graphics bump. It's more than just 4K graphics, 60 frames. We're talking developers now being able to break free from the limitations of game design that they had for the last 20 years, right? They no longer are bound by this limitation, but that's limited to the developers who are going to make the game exclusively for PlayStation 5. For the multiplayer developers, the Call of Duties, the Maddens, the Battlefield, and all that other stuff, they're not going to be able to take a full advantage of game design because they still have to cater to Xbox and PC and every other platform out there, right? Every other platform that they want to make the game for, they have to cater to that platform. So that means the advantage that PlayStation 5 have, the best they're gonna do is probably just loading and stuff like that. But they're not gonna do game design, level design based around it because the other consoles aren't gonna have that capability to do it, right? So it is what it is. But for the PlayStation 5 exclusives, which to me is the main reason for the consoles, right? This is an exciting time for me, It's very exciting that PlayStation's attempting to do this, that Sony, Mark Cerny, and the developer, the manufacturing staff, the designer staff, sought to push gaming to a different direction besides just graphics and textures and stuff like that, to try to create a console that can impact game design. And that's amazing. We haven't had that level of impact since going from 2D to 3D, right? We haven't had that level of impact in a long time, right? During the deep dive, he mentioned that the philosophy behind designing levels in gaming hasn't changed since Jak 2, right? Jak 2 was a PlayStation 2 game, and that game came out in 2003. So you figure it was in development starting like in 2000, maybe 1999, depending how long it took to make the game. So you're talking the philosophy on how to level design levels and game design hasn't changed for 20 years. That's insane. The developers have been using the same formula and philosophy for over 20 years across all these games that we play, simply because of the limitation of the input output, and the speed of these platforms throughout the years. Now PlayStation 5 is the first platform, to truly break free from a standard perspective. And I think that's amazing, right? P-Rock, do you think that this new tech, more developers are going to want to do second or third party exclusive with PlayStation? So I don't think it's going to be so much. It's a good question. I don't think it's going to be so much the developers. It's going to be the publishers, right? Majority of the publishers that do multiplats, I'm going to say no. Because again, the games are multiplats. But later on, deeper into the gen, right? If the PlayStation 5 is very successful, 50, 60, 70 million sales, there I can see a third-party developer maybe attempting one project to be exclusive for PlayStation, right? Simply because they want to design a game that pushes gaming forward, right? And they need to push gaming forward, right? And they're probably going to convince for the 10th generation of platforms from Microsoft and Nintendo that, hey, you need to do what Sony did for the ninth generation. You need to have this because we want this as the standard for all games, you know? And I think that's amazing. P-Rock, do you think due to this new tech, PlayStation is hoping to get more second, third party deals exclusive to entice them to want? So good question. So the tech is, I guarantee all developers are excited about the tech, especially the removal of this architecture, right? I mean, the limitation, right? But for the company they work for, you know, the Activisions, the EAs, the Ubisoft, they make multi-plats. So they have to design their games based on all platforms, right? At the end of the day. And like Shawan said, second, third party deals are about money, right? Now, Sony could put up some buckets of money, you know, if they put in that cash, you know, and get a third party to make an exclusive so they can continue to push that hype behind the SSD and show it, then yeah, third party will take it. You know, they'll take that money, right? But the majority of third party won't because again, it's all about the publisher and getting them games to be sold across as many platforms as possible. So the games have to cater to all the platforms, not just take advantage of the PlayStation 5. I will buy it, but maybe not day one. You don't have to get touchy. I'm a PlayStation fan. Oh, he's probably talking to somebody else. I thought that was a question. And that's it. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of people. Let's talk about the backwards compatibility. It's a very confusing message. Sony has to see that the message is being confused. They need to come out and just say, you know, clarify what Sony did, right? Because right now, the way it looks as if only 100 games are available for backwards compatibility to be played on the PlayStation 5. That's what it sounds like. Some people are saying that that's not what it means. What it means is only 100 games have been enhanced for PlayStation 5. Sony needs to come out and fix that real quick, right? Now, let's say it's the worst case scenario. Only 100 games are available at launch that are backwards compatible on PlayStation 5. Only 100 PS4 games, right? That's going to piss off a lot of people. I'm not going to say they're wrong. I see that. I see that, McLally D. I'm not going to say they're wrong because everybody has the right to have an expectation from their product, especially if they invested a lot of money. And if you got PlayStation 4 fans that bought a lot of content and they want that content carried forward, they have a right to be disappointed and stuff like that, right? Show on with the super chat. Thank you so much. Will PS5 remaster the games for free like Xbox? That's what it sounds like when they say PS5 enhanced. It sounds like the PlayStation 5, certain games will take advantage of PlayStation 5 capabilities. So it sounds like yes, it sounds like it. Now for free, I don't know. I'm not gonna go there because they didn't talk about that. You know, again, that would have been a great point with an actual reveal. You know, but we didn't get a reveal. We got a deep dive talk on the tech. You know, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. We're talking about how something works, but we don't even know what that something is in the first place. We don't know anything about Sony's idea of backwards compatibility. But Mark Cerny out there talking about it, saying how it works. So he went into detail of how backwards compatibility works. Oh, you know, because we have the same input logical blocks and it goes into the circuit. You know, he did all this crazy shit. And we don't even know what backwards compatibility is on the PlayStation. And that's, you know, man, I'm going back to the beginning of the conversation, but that right there is a perfect scenario. Mark Cerny explained something that we don't even know how PlayStation is handling it. That's why I say the GDC, this deep dive, was the cart before the horse. We got a thorough explanation of how BC works, but we don't know how BC is handled on PlayStation 5. You know, and that's crazy. That's just bananas, right? Damn, man. Damn, Sean, you made me lose my train of thought. Talking about that right there. But fuck. Yeah, I forgot my train of thought. Sorry, this is live. I don't have my cue cards. Oh, thank you for that comment. One thing Phil Spencer says straight up. So now you jog my memory. So the PlayStation fans has the right to be disappointed. What I don't understand, well, I understand because these aren't PlayStation fans. These are Xbox fans pretending to be PlayStation fans, right? These guys are slick. It's just crazy how much non-profit work these guys do to sell a console. Like, holy shit, right? So these PlayStation fans, right? They're all of a sudden saying, oh, snap, PlayStation only has 100 games. Screw that. I'm not buying a PlayStation. I'm going to buy an Xbox. Screw PlayStation 5. So now, this is what's wrong with that logic, right? I understand being upset. But if you're upset that day one, only 100 games are available, and PlayStation did mention that they have over 4,000 games, whatever, that they're working on. But if you're upset that only 100 games are available, and you're upset to the point that you're going to buy an Xbox Series X, how does that help your backwards compatible? How does that help the library of games that you have? Because granted, only 100, let's say worst case scenario, only 100 are available day one, but over time, more and more are going to be available. The library of backwards compatibility games are going to grow. So eventually, you're going to have access to all the games backwards compatible. But if you buy the Xbox Series X, 0 PlayStation 4 games are backwards compatible on the X. None of them will work, and none of them will ever work. So how is the answer of, screw that, I only get 100 games, I'm buying an Xbox Series X? How is that an answer to the problem? Because you're choosing a platform that won't play any of your PlayStation 4 games at all. You see what I'm saying? The logic doesn't make sense. I understand being pissed off that only 100 is available day one, right? But the library is going to grow. You're going to get more and more backwards compatible games. And from the talk of Sony, many of them are going to be enhanced, and they're working on that too. So it's only a temporary issue, you know? So I don't understand that level of outrage to where now you're not going to buy the product at all. You're going to buy another product, but that other product doesn't do PlayStation 4 backwards compatibility. And then my favorite part, this is what my favorite part is, right? Well, but the Xbox Series X is going to be backwards compatible to all the Xbox One games. And again, this is the supposed PlayStation 4 fans, right? So you're going to buy Xbox Series X because it's backwards compatible to all the Xbox One games that you've been saying for years are trash. So you didn't like the Xbox One games when they were part of the current gen, but now you like them as backwards compatible titles. So you're going to buy Xbox Series X for games you didn't even care for in the first place when they were brand new, relevant, and out in the market. That doesn't make sense. You know, I don't understand the logic behind that. Oh, I'm gonna buy Xbox Series X. Do you own an Xbox One? Oh no, I don't own one. Why? Oh, because they have crap games. So the games are all of a sudden gonna be good when you buy the Xbox Series X? Squeeze me? You know what I'm saying? I don't understand that, right? I think a lot of people are losing the plot, And again, I'll be honest. I like the console war because it's funny. I just use it for entertainment, and to talk trash. But it's just funny seeing all these comments on what they do, right? Some of these dudes, I even called. There was one dude. He told me, "Yeah, I'm buying Series X because it's backwards compatible to all these games." And I'm like, "You own an Xbox One?" He's like, "No." So you don't have any game that's backwards compatible. You have to buy everything if you get an Xbox Series X, And if you're going to buy everything, how come you didn't own an Xbox One now and enjoy some of those games, especially that they have Game Pass, Within the first month for $10, you'll be playing like 20 games or whatever, right? So it's just funny how the criticism is not very constructive. It's not very constructive criticism or stuff like that. So it's just funny, Do fans have the right to be pissed off that if it ends up true there's only 100 games? Of course, right? But at that point, it is what it is. Only 100 games launch, worst case scenario. You have to get at Sony and put heat on them to be, to step it up, add more games. When you're gonna add more games? Are you gonna have a system to where gamers can provide recommendations? A website, or even better, within the console, because I think they should go to a console, have a section to be like, submit your recommendation on what game you would like to see. Your top 5 games you want to see get added to backwards compatibility. That's not there yet, right? And then Sony will calculate, and they'll see the total numbers, and they'll start working on the games that get voted the most, things like that. You know, I say that's constructive criticism. That's actually will push the brand forward as a fan. You go out there, you tell them, hey, you screwed up, but this is how you need to fix it. Provide this type of technology. Provide us with the capability to let you know what games you need to add to the library. So that way, the consumers and the gamers of PlayStation fan, they actually speak with Sony, and give us deadlines, give us timelines. Let us know, for those who are into backwards compatibility, how many games you're working on and how long it takes to get them on. Be transparent. Tell them, hey, the average game to get added to the backwards compatibility library takes about 15 days, for one game, or 3 days for one game, whatever, right? And if it takes a while to get a game added to the backwards compatibility, don't rest on your laurels. Improve your tool sets, improve your technologies, improve the things that you have to get the game backwards compatible so you can do it faster. And be transparent about it with the audience. Be like, hey, the current tool sets we have, it takes us 4 days to add a game on the library, but over time we're trying to whittle it down to 3 days, and then hopefully we could get it down to 5 hours. Things like that. Whatever the time things. That's constructive criticism. That's holding Sony accountable, and that forces them to get better. You know what I'm saying? So you can have the platform and improve on the things you want in terms of the feature set. And I think that's the better answer. But some of these answers are just weird, or some of the reactions are just weird from people. It's just weird. But that's just what it is and stuff like that. Hit the like button. But I think that's it. That's pretty much my thoughts and opinions on stuff like that. Oh, Drunken Master, $5 super chat. I put The Last of Us disc in my Xbox today just to see what happened. The Xbox was trying to read the disc for a spec, but I hadn't loaded for. Well, oh man, let me see what it says right here. The Xbox was trying to read the disc for a sec, but didn't load. For a sec, Xbox had a banger. For 1 second, Xbox had the game of the generation. My purpose for only buying consoles for the games, that's it. I love video games. Damn. Okay. Oh, here we go. My only purpose for buying a console for the games, that's it. I love video games, and that's why I love PlayStation ecosystem, because they give me the games I want. At the end of the day, that's Drunk Master's crazy. But yeah, that's ultimately it. Ultimately, I'm telling you, my main focus for the PlayStation is the exclusives. It's always each of the consoles. My main selling point for me has always been the exclusives, because the exclusives that each company does are supposed to be amazing, are supposed to be just breathtaking. And a lot of the consoles I owned, the exclusives were bangers. I'll be honest, Xbox One by far has been the worst console I've ever owned from an exclusive standpoint. Sure, the console in terms of multiplats, especially if you bought the One X, best version of the One X, and all that stuff, great community, all that stuff, yeah, I got it. But from what I do, I bought the Xbox One for the exclusives, and I'm telling you, out of all the platforms I own, right, it has been the most disappointing exclusives I have ever played in my life. And I'm talking about, I own TurboGrafx 16. I remember, granted, TurboGrafx 16 didn't have a lot of games, but the games it did have, some of them were amazing, and I remember just having a great time with it. N64, even the GameCube, had amazing exclusives and stuff like that, right? The Xbox One was just it was such on a low bar for me that I can't see myself ever buying another Xbox console again. It's just, that ain't the way for me. I can't do it. I can't do it. And what's funny is, I go on Twitter and I tell them, yeah, I'm going PlayStation 5 and PC, because I think at this point, if you're a hardcore gamer, and I know a lot of gamers are console only gamers, but I think you might want to invest a PC now, all right? Any opportunity you get to PC, unless you already did a PC and you really hate it, but if you've never done it, do a low end, do a beginner PC. And the reason why is, I think PC might be the last hardware that will hold the line
in terms of providing games natively to the user. I think there's potential that eventually Microsoft and Sony will go away with consoles and they'll provide the entertainment through streaming services. You know, not saying that's going to happen anytime soon, but when it does happen, you might want to be in a position where you can say no. I'm still going to stick to native gamings straight from the hardware, and I think PC is. I said, Baron, can you please shut down Baron, please? Why is this fake wrestler even in the talks about next gen being a Nintendo dude? Yo, Baron's always been like that, man. Baron's, he's like, he's a wrestler, right? So they have to put on the show. Sometimes you have to play the role of the bad guy. He just brings that energy into gaming. It's hilarious him talking about power, while at the same time his preferred platform is a Switch. Yo, he just kills me. He's just a funny dude. He just kills me with the shit he does. It's just antics, It's just WWE wrestling antics for console warring. It's hilarious how he's now interested in power, and yet he calls the Switch the hybrid powerhouse. Yo, it's funny. The dude is funny. Yeah, I'd just be like, man, this dude's crazy. You know. But that's it. I'm gonna say this. Hey, I'm gonna leave it off. Hey, I want to say thanks for rocking out with me. Thanks for the super chat. I truly appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna let you go. Right now, I'm currently playing Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice. And yeah, so you guys take care. All right, this is your boy Porter Rock 77. Your only friend is YouTube Streets, and I'm out of here. Peace. And we're gonna figure out how we close this out. Yep. Stop streaming. Yep. Peace.